It's the Brad and John Show.
The Brad and John Show. This is the B Block. Today's date is it July 22nd? Could that be?
It's the 22nd, 22-2, to quote Jay-Z, Brad.
Man, how in the world is this? Things are just moving too quick for me. Okay, and in the B Block, what do we do, John?
And it's time for Brad's Top 3.
It's time for Brad's Top 3.
Very good, John. You did a pretty good.
I love that song so much.
Although you're a little bit nasal on that, but that level will go. Okay, and what do we start off with, John? Well, how do we start off with the top 3?
I think, how does it go? I don't know how the 3 one goes. Go ahead.
It's number 3.
It's number 3. It's simple as that. Okay, number 3 is, let me give you some of the past history of my radio career, okay? Back in the day, I don't think they do this anymore, but back in the day, we used to have daily air check sessions, okay? Daily air check sessions where you would record your show, and we had this special machine in the air studio where the only time it recorded when you had the microphone open, and when you got done with your show, you had a telescoped air show. Even though you did a 4-hour shift, there was 40 minutes worth of you talking between songs, okay? So you'd go to the program director's office, and he would go through each break, and he would say, okay, that was good. No, this is bad. And one of the things, my one program director, he had a phrase for, he called it crutching. You know what crutching was?
Yeah, it's when I use the word Brad, or you say once again, or matter of fact.
Exactly.
Or, I don't know if I told you this.
Yes, exactly. I thought you were.
It's a phrase that you lean on as if it were a crush.
Right. And he goes, crutch. I can't remember what the word was. Man, he says, you're crutching on that word. Okay. Have you by any chance heard the Hunter Biden interview which surfaced yesterday?
Yes, and I know his crutch word, Brad.
Yes, it's F blank blank.
It's a 4-letter word.
Right, it's F blank blank K. I don't think I have ever heard someone use the F-bomb as many times in a sentence as him. I mean,
for folks who haven't heard it, Brad, which video? I've only seen like a 3-minute clip of it, but explain what video you're talking about, because it's amazing.
He's just going off on everybody, and it's just, everything is effing this, effing that, and F that, F that. Am I exaggerating, John?
No, it's remarkable. It's probably, I saw on a Twitter comment, somebody said, probably the most uses of F
yes.
in any given 60-second clip.
Exactly. So my old program director would go, if he would sit in the meeting, hey Hunter, you know what, that F word, you're crutching at that dude, too many times. I mean, it's just to the point where Armstrong and Getty played part of it yesterday, and they are so funny. I think it was Getty said, we should just put a 1,000 hertz tone over the whole interview, because that's just about what we had to do to play it on the air, because they played it like he said, and then beep, and then bleep, and then beep. I mean, he didn't go. I mean, sometimes, John, tell me if I'm wrong, there were sentences where he used the F-bomb 4 or 5 times in one sentence. Am I kidding?
Yeah, absolutely, because he would use it as a noun. He would use it as an adverb. He would use it in every possible part of speech. And he was going after, the clip that I saw, he started by going after George Clooney. And then he went after, what do they call the podcast bros, the Obama bros?
Yes, yes.
Pod Save America.
Yeah, Pod Save America. Yeah, guys. Man, he went after them.
Everybody in the Democratic Party.
Yes, if you know the Obama, that's what they call the Obama bros, and it's called Pod Save America. And it's 3 dudes used to work in the Obama administration, is what it is?
I only know them because of you, so yeah, I believe that's what it is.
Yeah, and actually what's interesting about it is, lately, I don't listen to it all the time, I listen to it from time to time, but lately it's to the point where, okay, are these guys Republicans now? Because it sounds like they've sort of switched teams where they're starting to criticize various things. And God, Hunter, let's be honest. Hunter is a smart guy. He's a very smart guy. He's got a law degree. Anybody who can make it through 3 years of law school and pass the bar, you're not talking about,
He's not a dum-dum.
Right, he's not a dum-dum. Okay, but the interesting part of it is, I think if there has ever been an example of someone who is privileged, someone who thinks their excrement is not malodorous, is that the word, John?
Yeah, that'd be close enough. Yeah.
Right. And someone who just thinks the world revolves around him, it's got to be Hunter. Don't you think, John?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you could also frame that interview as him defending his dad and lashing out at people who were not there for his dad. What was remarkable to me about the video, Brad, is that it was, for folks who haven't seen it, it's a gentleman interviewing him is sitting across from Hunter Biden. They're sitting outside. It's a beautiful setting. The guy interviewing him looks like a comedian. Like he's wearing a hat. He's got some wacky shoes on. Who is that guy? Do you know?
I do not know, but
but you can picture him right now, right?
Yes, but what
kind of a chubby guy, like unkempt.
What's can I go off topic just for a minute? It's funny you should mention that. Okay. I know someone who, shall we say, is divorced, and you might figure out why this person is divorced. And recently, this person told me about one of the reasons they're divorced is because their husband wore a hat at the dinner table. Now,
oh my God, who would do that?
Now, think about that for a minute. When you said the guy interviewing had a hat on, it just somehow clicked. But okay, you go before the man, the God man, and he tells you for better, for worse, for lifetime, but he doesn't say. See, the interesting thing, he doesn't say, and not wearing a hat at the dinner table. Now,
yeah. But I mean, why would you wear a hat indoors?
Well, watch these videos. Some guys never take their hats off. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but we're not talking about some guys. I mean, like you, Brad. Like, if you were wearing a hat to protect yourself, like functionally to protect yourself from the sun, maybe you're cutting grass at the transmitter site. Like, why would you go home, whether there was somebody there or not, and leave a hat on? Like, why would you do that?
I don't know. I mean, some people do. I mean, see, I come from the old school that as a gentleman, when you walk into a building, you take off your hat.
Absolutely, Brad. I am one, and I'm not a hat guy. But you take your hat off when,
right.
Yeah, I take my sunglasses off when I speak with someone. So if I'm outside and I'm ordering a drink outside, and I have sunglasses on, I take my sunglasses off before I speak to someone. I'm not going to have them try to find my eyes through sunglasses. Out of respect to them, I take my sunglasses off.
John, you ready for number 2?
I sure am.
It's time for Brad's number 2.
It is, and we have to say it twice.
It's time for Brad's number 2.
I will say once again, not because they're on my station, but I can remember going to Kansas City years ago, and for the first time hearing the Armstrong and Getty show either on KMBZ or KCMO, and thought to myself, these guys are funny, but yet they are very knowledgeable about what's going on in the world. Okay, yesterday during one of their episodes on this very station, they come on the air right after us from 8 to noon, and it's two guys who have been doing a radio show for like 30 years. They play perfectly off each other. Joe Getty is extremely well read. I hear him talking about, not just current events. I hear him quoting things from Shakespeare. I hear him quoting things from very prominent authors. The guy's just really good. They're very good at what they do. Yesterday, I can't find this article. There's an article somewhere on the internet that gives the top 10 NPR stories and how they were treated. And it's like I say, and they were reading these things, and it was unbelievable. One of them was, and these were actual NPR stories, one of them was a story about truckers. And they're talking about how truckers have such a rough life on the road, and that that a lot of them are overweight because they sit and they munch on food all day long as they're driving along, and they don't get much exercise, and they sleep in their truck, and the only exercise they get is getting out of the truck and walking in to pay for the fuel and walking inside to get a shower at the truck stop. And the story evolved into how the trucking industry is not properly treating transsexual truck drivers.
Oh, because they have no place do they have no gender neutral shower facility?
The point of their whole little bit was, and I've said it before, I don't care what story you hear on NPR. If you hear that someone is taking a basket weaving class at their local university, somehow or another, that story will devolve into, and it's unbelievable that the basket weavers are not allowed to show their sexual preferences in their class. It's like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, they have to work intersectionality into every story.
In every story. And they had like the top 10 NPR stories, and they would read how the story started out, and they would read how the story ended, and it always, like I've told you the story that like I can do 30-second setup. This is Joe Smith. Joe Smith is a very successful farmer. And once upon a time, Joe dreamed of having 100 acres. Now he has 1,000. But Joe has a problem. Joe does not feel comfortable by being a male farmer, and Joe thinks he needs to be a female farmer. And part of the problem is when Joe was growing up, he had a rough childhood, and his parents abused him. His parents made him eat his vegetables, and they were cruel to him. They made him go to bed sometimes without watching television. And Joe is now fighting back by changing his sexuality. Okay, whatever. Can't we just talk about the fact that Joe's a successful farmer who dreamed about having 100 acres, now has 1,000? You know what I'm saying, John?
I get exactly what you're saying. And without belaboring the point, Brad, I would imagine, jokes aside, that if you're a content producer at any NPR affiliate, one of the things that you bring to your boss at the mid-year review and end-of-year review is you're able to show, okay, and the stories I covered, among the sources that I talked to, there were X number of people of color, which translates to whatever percent. I did X number of stories involved getting commentary about institutionalized racism or alternate lifestyles and LGBTQIA. I am sure that is a proof point when you're going in for your end of year approval.
John, there's probably a spreadsheet they have. They plug all that information in, and then it comes out. Okay, ready for number one?
I can't wait, Brad.
And now, big finish, Brad's number.
It is, and is brought to us, as John would say, by Monica Obradovic. Is that her name, Monica Obradovic?
Monica Obradovic from the St. Louis Post-Dispatch.
Yes. A story on STL Today, and it has a beautiful picture. I don't know if this is done with a helicopter or a drone shot. Beautiful picture of the campus of Washington University, where John went and graduated, where my mom and dad went and graduated, where my daughter went to law school. And the title of the article is, Washington University scrubs web pages of DEI content. Quote, people are scared in higher education. And I saw this, I laughed, just like I just did. They're scared in public education. Why, in higher education. John, can I ask you, why would the folks at WashU be scared?
Let me guess. Let me go out on a limb and say that it would have to do with getting money from the federal government.
St. Louis's leading research university has quietly removed references to the university's commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion from many of its websites amid rising federal scrutiny of higher education. I think they're seeing what's going on with Harvard and also with Columbia. And wasn't there another one in there to a certain extent?
Yeah, I think so.
And going like OS, or if they were Hunter Biden, they were going OF blank blank K. And they would say that like 20 times in a sentence. See, what I don't understand about this is you look back at this, and in the rearview mirror, you have two sets of three letters. You have DEI and ESG. And DEI is diversity, equity, and inclusion. And ESG is a term that John, reading all these reports and being a stock market guy, how many gazillion times did you see ESG and stock market reports for various companies you were following in the last 6-7 years, John? How many times?
All the time, a multitude of times.
And explain what ESG is.
It stands for environmental sustainability and governance.
And essentially,
so it's the idea of it's a set of practices where you say that you take a number of factors into consideration when you make business decisions. So in other words, Brad, in the olden days during the Brad Hildebrand era, companies would just look at the bottom line. But today they say, when we develop the new product here at Ford or Energizer or Bayer, we consider the environmental impact. We do a sustainability study to show what that truck might actually do for carbon emissions.
Now, John, is the ESG thing mentioned as much as it used to be?
I would say it has declined, and I would say that it has become just a general catch-all term that is a nice to have today. And I think that people I don't have any stats for this, Brad, but I would say that people are intentionally disregarding it because people don't care anymore.
So, John, you as an investor who spends a lot of time on this, and you referred to Mr. Hedgeye, is that his name, Mr. Hedgeye?
It's an investment research firm, sure.
Well, that's not a dude. It's not his name.
No, it's not a man. No.
Okay, so let's call it Hedgeye. I'll just refer to it as Hedgeye. When you look at this, do you say, you know what? I got a feeling if I invest in this company, I could see 20% year-over-year growth for my money. And if I put in $10,000, there's a good chance that in 3 years that could be $20,000 or maybe $30,000.
Yeah. Or
do you say, well, if I put my $10,000 in this company, I hope that they practice ESG, and I hope that they go out and they hire some diverse workforce, and they make some impacts in society, and I hope the governance of that company has a bunch of well-rounded people from different backgrounds who will essentially not be slaves to profit. So which one of those two is the real John Combest? Number one?
Absolutely the first choice, Brad.
Right.
And as you know, Brad, the real reason to have these ESG standards is it allows companies that way. If you're investing in your company's, say, 401k plan, some companies say we will only allow you to invest in funds that have a certain ESG stamp of approval. So every company in there has to show that they put sustainability and environmentalism and governance above all. They put people above profits. And that's the way, because normal people, Brad, would do exactly what you said is, okay, what gives me the best return? So you have to force people into having fewer options and choosing ESG. By the way, Brad, the fantastic story from Monica Obradovic, I don't know if you remember all the way back to Friday, but that story was in my top 3 in A block from Friday.
That very story?
Monica Obradovic, DEI. The title on our YouTube page is WashU Scrubs DEI language from website.
Well, it popped up on STL today as well, too.
Yeah, so. Probably because it was so popular over the weekend.
Right, because people are going like, oh, and see, now what's interesting about this is the NPR crowd was going, oh my God, this is horrible. And the rest of the crowd's going like, it's about time, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and WashU's going to follow the money. At a certain point, you have to put your liberal idealism on the shelf for the fact that you would get. And the number that I cited on Friday, Brad, I don't have it in front of me, but I believe it's $700-something million that WashU gets from National Institute of Health that would be on the chopping block if they don't get rid of this anti-white language.
Man, I tell you what. Okay, we have to take a break. We'll be back with C Block